I'm Joe Loughran. I'm here with Coach Demetrius Smith, head coach of the Pace Academy boys basketball team, who will play Manchester in the state championship this Friday in Macon at 4:45. Coach, how are you doing?
Doing well, Joe. How are you?
Great, thanks. So how has the team prepared this week so far for such a huge game, despite coming off two big wins over the weekend?
Well, our motto is, we come to work every day, so our motto is to be better than we were yesterday. So wins and losses don't matter. It's just all about getting better every day.
So this next one's kind of a two-part question. Most of the team's 10 losses on the season came in the early part of the season when Pace traveled and played in many national tournaments. There were some players who were injured, some still playing on the football team. But how did those losses prepare the team for big games at neutral sites in the state playoffs like Milledgeville and Macon? And how did they kind of develop the team mentality as a whole?
Just looking back on our schedule and the teams that we played, all of those teams were either in the Final Four, still playing, or in their state championship games, probably going to win it. Westlake in their state championship game. I think Providence Day School, I think they won their title already. And all of those schools had 25 wins on the year, so every team that we lost to had at least 20 wins. Mm-hmm. So it prepared us to pretty much all for the South Georgia teams, which we didn't have last year, mm-hmm. going into the state tournament.
That's great. So obviously coming into the season, you knew you had your best player in Wendell Carter. You knew you had an established role player in Zach Kaminsky, but you did lose key senior contributors like Elijah Holyfield and Wade Swain and Elijah Sheft. Other than that, there weren't that many established players in big roles coming into this year. How did this team kind of establish their identity throughout the season?
Well, I think this team kind of took on the identity of who we are. We defend, and they get down in the stands and they defend. They work hard every day on their defense. They take pride in guarding the best guys on the other team, Mark and Mick ASAP especially. And it's pretty much what they've been doing for football. They're deep defensive backs, so they just guard the best player on the field, the most athletic player on the court. So they work well for us.
That's great. So kind of off that last point, which individual players have surprised you in their level of contributions this year that were here last year or didn't kind of play as much as they did last year that really stood out?
I don't think it's any surprises. I think it's more of growing up. Like Zach Kaminsky, we always knew he had the ability to do what he's been doing in the playoffs, make big shots. Growing up for him is, you miss a couple shots and you fade the rest of the game because you don't think you have the confidence to make them. In our last couple of games, he would miss his first 3 shots and he keeps shooting, which is what he should do. So it's just a growing up thing. Barry Baker, the same thing. You shoot the basketball. Being able to grow up and understand your role and play it with mistakes and everything else that comes with basketball.
And kind of off that, you mentioned Barrett Baker and Zach Kaminsky. Both had a couple of huge performances in Milledgeville over the weekend in the Elite Eight and the Final Four. What can you guys say about their almost coming out party this late in the season almost?
Maybe a coming out party to everybody else, but I expected out of both of those guys. They're starters. There's a reason why you're in the starting lineup, and we had a conversation early in the year saying guys should feel about you that when you walk on the court, they got to guard you, and that's how you got to make them feel. So they took that and they ran with it.
That's great. So obviously earlier in the season, controversial overtime loss to Lovett. At Lovett, kind of marked a turning point for this team, given they haven't lost a game since. You guys won the region tournament and you're in the state final. How was that sort of a turning point for this team?
Not really a turning point. Our motto stays the same: just be better than we were yesterday. Lovett, they made all the plays to win the game. That last shot didn't lose the game for us. We was up 5 with 20 seconds left. So we did some stuff in that game that should have been out of reach by the time the buzzer went off.
So over the last couple of years, you've become a father for 2 young boys. How has that kind of changed your perspective and coaching style with your team?
Helps you with your patience. Helps you with just trying to understand what a young boy, 14, 15, 3, what they're thinking, and try to be patient with them. Try to get them to voice how they feel so you can better serve them as a coach. So it's been great just having kids, having Noah around, and not getting frustrated with him when he do stuff that I know he shouldn't be doing. So it takes over to basketball too. You know, you don't get frustrated even though you know the guys know better. You just gotta be like, you know, you gotta own up, you gotta man up and take responsibility.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so looking forward to this Friday. What are some of the offensive and defensive kind of keys to the game to beat Macon and win the state championship?
Our game plan is the same. We're playing the same type of teams. They're going to press. They're going to run all over the place. Their thing is chaos. They want to have chaos. It's not organized. It's as many presses as they can sing. But we've seen it all. We've faced teams that press us in diamond. They press us in the 2-2-1. So for us, it is to break the press and take care of basketball and play pace basketball.
That's great. So do you have a message for Pace fans coming to Macon on Friday?
See you at Macon. Bringing another championship back to Pace, the first one for basketball. Congratulations.
Great, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.